Alhamdulillah, by the gracious bounties of Allah Azza wa Jal, we're about to conclude the month of Dhul Hijjah. Alhamdulillah, we're seeing the Hajjis coming back from their Hajj trip, coming back hopefully with sins forgiven, with rewards gained, and we say to them, Hajjun Mabrur, wa Sa'yun Mashkur, wa Dhanbun Maghfur. May Allah make your Hajj Mabrur, because this is the ultimate goal. One seeks into going for Hajj, to have a Hajjun Mabrur, and to have sins forgiven after standing on the mountain of Arafah. Wa Sa'yan Mashkur, being thanked and rewarded for all the sa'i, the work you have done throughout the sha'air of the Hajj. And one would be wondering, what's after Hajj? What's after the days of Dhul Hijjah for us? Also those who were not able to make it to Hajj, but Alhamdulillah, Allah had blessed us to be mindful and observant to the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. What's in it to us? Is Islam only sha'air wa tuqus wa ibadat fil hayah faqat? Is it only that we apply Islam as rituals in life only? Or there's something more beyond it? And if we were to see the Muslims' ummah condition nowadays, we will see how pathetic we are. We see what is happening throughout the Muslim ummah. This political situation is very miserable. We're seeing people killed on a daily basis. We're seeing the assets of the ummah being wasted around, and we're seeing the fasad prospering and the deen being suppressed. All these things are happening to us, and we wonder why and how we are able to change. We need to change by going to the second level of the ibadat, to make this ibadat alive, to make them effective in our life. Going to Hajj, or observing the days of Dhul Hijjah, or even fasting the month of Ramadan, and abstaining from food and drink only, and then coming back again to the same lifestyle that you used to live, then you haven't gained much from the month of Ramadan or any other ibadat. The purpose of going through the month of Ramadan, as Allah indicated, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so you may achieve the taqwa, so you may change your condition, so you may change your status, so that your life after Ramadan will be completely different than it is before Ramadan. So that from now on, you're more conscious of Allah in your actions and deals with others around you. So that when you live your life and interact with people around you, then you're doing it in a different way that is more aligned with the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the same is to be said about going to Hajj. What are the essence of Hajj? Why did you go through Hajj? Is it only to come back with the title Hajji, or is it only for entertainment and spiritual fulfilling? If that's the purpose of your Hajj trip, then you haven't gained much. There's much more beyond than going for Hajj or fulfilling a spiritual need. Coming back after crying so much and feeling that you have released all the stress between the hands of Allah on the mountains of Arafah, on the mountain of Arafah, or throughout the different sha'air you're engaged in, is good, but it's not enough. We need to go to the second level. We need to improve the conditions of ourselves and ultimately the conditions of the Muslim Ummah. No one can justify what is happening to us right now. How many of you here and know what is happening in Idlib? Not many of us are aware of what's happening in Idlib. How many of us are aware and following up with other locations on earth, whether it is Kashmir, or what's happening in Yemen, or what's happening in Libya, or what's happening in Palestine? There is so much. Do we lack the resources? Do we lack the manpower? Do we lack the technology? Do we lack the ability? No, we do not lack it, but we lack the will to change and react among our conditions. Allah says in the Quran, in the sequence of ayat of Hajj, in Surah Al-Hajj itself, that ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ حُرُمَاتِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِ. And also at the same time, he says, ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. This is indeed what Allah wants you to achieve from going through Hajj. Allah wants you to be mindful and not only be aware, but to gratify, to be fearful, to have the conscience of the hurumat of Allah. Hurumat are not to be crossed. That's as our Prophet ﷺ indicated that الحلال بين والحرام بين وبينهما أمور مشتبهات. The halal is clear and the haram is clear, and between them are the gray area. And in the conclusion of the hadith, ألا إن في الجسد مضغة. There is a part in your body that إذا صلح صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسد فسد الجسد كله. If that part is to be corrupt, then the rest of the body is corrupt. And that's what the ibadat aims to. It aims into improving not the physical condition of your heart, but the taqwa condition of your heart. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal, throughout the ritual of Hajj, sets the Hajjis in a training situation where they are abstaining from lawful things throughout certain period of time. يا أيها الذين آمنوا ليبلونكم الله بشيء من الصيد تناله أيديكم ورماحكم ليعلم الله من يخافه بالغيب فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم. Allah tested the Sahaba in their Umrah trip, and when they were in a desperate condition, when they were hungry, when they were in a difficult situation, the animals were within not the reach of their spears, but the reach of their own hands. Allah wants to test them. You're not allowed in the status of ihram to cut your hair, to cut your nail, to hunt for food, to intimate with your spouse, halal things. But Allah made them unlawful for you through the status of ihram. What's the point for that? To train yourself to be mindful of the hurumat. So that تِلْكَ حُدُودُ اللَّهِ فَلَا تَقْرَبُوهَا. Do not even come close to it. وَمَنْ يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Those who transgress against the hurumat of Allah Azza are indeed zalim to themselves. That's the whole idea of being trained, whether in Ramadan by abstaining from the halal throughout the days, or by being in Hajj through the state of ihram when you are in Hajj. ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Sha'air here refers to the hadi that the Hajjis will be offering in the ritual of Hajj. And Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to be mindful, wants us to be aware that the idea of engaging in the sha'air is not only to be in certain location at certain time or doing certain actions physically. That's not the whole purpose of ibadat. Standing in salah still without moving and your mind somewhere else is irrelevant. You're not getting much from your salah. Abstaining from food and drink in the daytime and then unleashing your appetite afterwards to eat more than what you have abstained from the rest of the day is irrelevant. Abstaining from the ma'asi throughout the month of Ramadan or the days of Hijjah, and on the first day of Eid doing things that are so shameful is irrelevant. Will not get you anywhere. Haven't helped you to achieve the purpose of the ibadat. Going through the different sha'air in Hajj by going through the tawaf or staying in the Mina camp or standing on the mountain of Arafah or proceeding after that to the valley of Muzdalifah and then going from there to stone the shaitan are all sha'air that requires from you to be in a certain spiritual and mental and emotional status to be able to complete that with the physical achievement of the sha'air. The whole purpose is to help you grow, to help you change. When are we going to wake up to the reality and realize that the one who provides for me is Allah? The one who controls my life is Allah. or in a higher position and hierarchical positions in the Muslim Ummah. They are unable to control our lives. If the soldiers in the Muslim Ummah were able to realize that, they would not be appointing the guns at other Muslims who are saying, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and shouting Allahu Akbar. Are we going to wake up to the reality? Are we going to change our conditions? Are we not? Are we going to be focused on a real life in which we will be standing between the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal and belittle this lower life, al-hayat dunya? We killed ourselves over this dunya. We're killing ourselves over it. Our aim has been, or is right now, mainly to get the most out of this life. Where the purpose of this life is to get the most for the akhirah. Let's shift our paradigm, my brothers and sisters. My younger children, my younger brothers and sisters, my dearest children, this is the last Jum'ah you will be attending with us, and this is last Jum'ah before you go back to school. Be more conscious of who you are. Let the ibadat, the sha'a'ir of Allah Azza wa Jal make a difference in you. Allah wants you to get out of your hajj the status of ikhbat. وَبَشِّرْ الْمُخْبِتِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَهُمْ وَالْمُقِيمِ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. The hajj is based on those three characteristics. It's based on those because hajj was about dhikr, يذكر اسم الله في أيام معلومات. That's the purpose of hajj, going to remember Allah's names on certain days, or in counted days. Allah described it both in Surah Al-Hajj and Surah Al-Baqarah. But the purpose of dhikr is not to only repeat lyrics or slogans. The purpose of dhikr is to help you achieve the conscience of the mighty Allah Azza wa Jalla. الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. As Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Anfal, that إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم والذين يؤتون ما أتوا وقلوبهم وجلة أنهم إلى ربهم راجعون. As Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Mu'minun. So what's wajilat? What is the status of wajal? And what is the status of ikhbat? As Allah mentioned, وَبَشِّرِ الْمُخْبِتِينَ. What ya Rabbi? What should we bashir al-mu'minin for? Open statement. بشر المؤمنين بالجنة. بشر المؤمنين with the good of the dunya and the akhirah. بشر المؤمنين with an open and ultimate rahmat and barakat, all applicable. Al-Mukhbit in the Arabic language, as Al-Asfahani indicated in Mu'jam al-Mufradat, is al-layyin, al-ard al-wati'ah, the land that is easy to walk on. This is khabit. And from that was taking the meaning of the Quran, وَبَشِّرْ الْمُخْبِتِينَ, those who are خاشع, layyin, mutawadi'. Those who are submissive, easy going with others around them, and focused in their ibadah to Allah Azza wa Jalla. That's the whole idea of going for Hajj. To achieve that state of ikhbat to Allah Azza wa Jalla. To become a different person. الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. What's wajilat? إِنَّ مِنْكُمْ وَجِلُونَ قَالُوا لَا تَوْجَلْ وَبَشَّرُوهُ بِغُلَامٍ عَلِيمٍ. As Allah mentioned about the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, that إِنَّ مِنْكُمْ وَجِلُونَ. We are, the wajal in the Arabic language, if you were to dig into the meaning of linguistic meaning, the first أول مرحلة في الخوف, the first status of achieving the fear. The remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal throughout the days of Hajj, throughout the different sha'a'ir. When you were doing the tawaf, you were remembering Allah Azza wa Jal. You were focused, you were submissive. And the same is to be said when you were doing the different other sha'a'ir in the mountain of Arafah. You were not just saying words. Things were coming from the heart. Things that should come from the heart should change the status of your mind. And that should reflect on your behavior and attitude later on in life. And the same is to be said when you go through the jamarat. That's why when you throw jamarat, it's not by going physically and throw as hard as you can a stone. It is about being submissive to the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. It's about denouncing the actions of shaitan. And that's why after you throw the jamarat, you stand on the side and you engage in dua, prolonged dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. When Umar al-Khattab, after throwing his jamarat, looked towards the Mecca and said, Ya Rabb, urzuqni ash-shahadata fi sabilika fi madinati nabiyyika. Those who were around him and said, Anna laka dhalika ya Amir al-Mu'minin. How could that be possible? The state of Islam is from coast to coast, from the ocean to the ocean. How could that be possible? He said to them with simple words, this is the word of Allah. He says to things be and they will be. My job is to supplicate. My job is to act, and Allah's job is to fulfill. And he gave the shahada in the mihrab of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ذلك ومن يعظم شعائر الله فإنها من تقوى القلوب وبشر المخبتين الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم. Is the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal ignite the fear in your heart to the legacy of Allah Azza wa Jal? If not, then it's just words. You're just, saying things. You're not achieving much. You need to change. وَالصَّابِرِينَ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَهُمْ. Hajj is about patience. It's about exercising tolerance. لَيْسَ الشَّدِيدُ بِالسُّرْعَةِ. Not the tough is the one who reacts immediately, physically. But the shadid is the one who holds his temper in difficult situations. And if those who have gone to Hajj would know that you need to exercise the ultimate patience to be able to achieve Hajj al-Mabrur. You'll be provoked easily. It's very difficult, very hot, very crowded. And you're dealing with people with different cultural backgrounds, with different languages. But once you are patient, seeking the rewards of Allah Azza wa Jalla, things will be different. وَالْمُقِيمِ الصَّلَاةِ. Establishing the salah. Salah is your ruh. Salah is the connection between you and Allah Azza wa Jalla. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Those who are also mindful and aware that this deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla is a dynamic deen, is a deen of actions, is a deen of rahmah. There is no point for being so religious, quote unquote, and being so modest, quote unquote, but you're not feeling what others are going through in their life. You're not feeling what Muslims in other parts of the Muslim Ummah are going through, whether they have the basics to provide for themselves and their children or not, whether they have the basic necessities of medications or not, whether they see the meat around the year or not, whether they are in a state where they are able to live a decent life with dignity or not. These are all things that Allah wants us to be mindful and aware of. And Hajj teaches you to spend, because their Hajj is an expensive ibadah, but Allah Azza wa Jal will be giving you multiple rewards in return for it, and will give you back what you have spent, because al-Hajj wal-Umrah yanfiyan al-khabth wal-faqr kama yanfi al-khabath kama tanfi an-nar khabath al-hadid. The Hajj and Umrah expenses will be purifying you as the fire purifies the gold and the silver. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فيغفر لكم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. From the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal, we conclude the year with one of the Ashhur al-Hurum, with one of the major ibadats, and at the same time we start a new year with also another shahr min al-Ashhur al-Hurum. with another month that is full of rahmat and barakat, with a month that has days that have one day from أيام الله عز وجل. وذكرهم بأيام الله. Remind them about the days of Allah Azza wa Jal. As we have observed the days of the Hijjah, as we were mindful, as we have charged ourselves to benefit from the days that have passed, starting from Rajab, as I mentioned, is the season of Rahmat, all the way to the Shahrullah al-Haram. Let us also not lose the momentum and energy and to continue with the same level of ibadat and awareness as we're about to engage, inshallah, in Shahrullah al-Haram, the month of Allah al-Haram. The Prophet ﷺ added that to Shahrullah al-Haram, the month of Allah al-Haram, to add some weight to this, to the value of this month. And the Prophet ﷺ said, أفضل الصيام بعد رمضان بعد الفريضة is the صيام of Shahrullah al-Haram. وأفضل الصلاة بعد الفريضة قيام الليل. The best of fasting, non-obligatory fasting, after the Faridah, which is during the month of Ramadan, will be the fasting of Shahrullah al-Haram. And the best of Salah after Faridah comes Salah Qiyam al-Layl. And that would mean that the best, as ما تقرب إلي عبدي بشيء أحب إلي ما افترضته عليه. Nothing is more loved by Allah that we can offer like fulfilling the fara'id. And comes immediately after the fara'id, the sunnah al-rawatib, which is more important than the nawafil, than qiyam al-layl. Fulfilling those, after that, there is nothing better than standing between the hands of Allah in the darkness of the night. So let us be mindful of these days to come, which will start in a few days' time. Let us aim into doing as much fasting as possible throughout the month of Al-Shahr al-Muharram. If we're unable to do so, let's not forget that fasting Ashura, which is the 10th day of Muharram, as the Prophet ﷺ indicated, will forgive the sins of the whole year. Like what we have done during the day, in the day of Arafah, forgiving the sins of 2 years, here is another chance to emphasize, to cleanse what has been and what was not cleansed from the past, or if the sins were cleansed in the past, to raise our status in the scale of Allah Azza wa Jal. So let us not miss any single chance of rahmat and barakat and come close to Allah Azza wa Jal. And remember that the Siyam is one of the most beautiful ibadat that teaches you discipline. And along with that, let us hold and let us put in our mind that let's step beyond being cosmetic and being mechanical in our ibadah to Allah. We need to grow, my brothers and sisters. We need to change our conditions. For how long? For how long are we going to live in this misery? One reflects and contemplates on our conditions, whether as a community or as an ummah. One feels helpless, powerless. But be 100% sure. And wallahi, inna Allah lanasirun deenahu nasirah. By the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah is going to give victory to His deen. That's an ultimate fact, no one denies. That's an ultimate fact. Do not allow shaitan to penetrate your heart and defeat your spirit. Allah is giving victory to His deen, as He had given victory to His deen when Musa alayhi salam with his own people were in a very weak status. إِنَّ لَمُدْرَكُونَ قَالَ كَلَّا إِنَّ مَعِيَ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. And when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam كان في الغار وصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا. Don't pray, Allah is with us. ألا تدعو لنا ألا تستنصر لنا. The same situations, the same conditions that we're living in were subjugated to those who came before us, but they gained their trust and belief in Allah Azza wa Jalla. So let us be like them. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إنا عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء إمامك نواصينا بيدك يا رب، ماض فينا حكمك يا رب، عدل فينا قضاءك يا رب، نسألك بكل اسم ولك سميت به نفسك، أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا يا رب، اجعله جلاء من همومنا وأحزاننا يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنك ناصر دينك ناصر، اللهم هو لا شك لنا عندنا في ذلك. اللهم نسألك بأن تجعلنا من جندك، سخرنا لطاعتك، استخدمنا لمرضاتك، غير حالنا إلى أفضل الأحوال. اللهم أصلح فساد قلوبنا، ألف بين وحد صفوفنا. اللهم أنت ربنا وإلهنا ولا شكوى إلا إليك يا رب العالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأصلح لي ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإنني المسلم. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد.